Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. I'm your host, Pearse McLaughlin, and today I'm joined by my co-host today, and that is Thomas McLaughlin. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
No bad, no bad. We've got a lot of football to talk about today, so let's get cracking. So we've got English Premier League results, we've got Scottish Premiership results, we've got new boss at Aberdeen, we've got the Asian football news, and we've also got a bit of Champions League football action. So we'll start as we always do, and that's with the English Premier League results. So on Sunday, the 15th of March, we had Burnley nil, Bournemouth nil, Sunderland nil, Brighton 1, Arsenal 2, Everton nil. Chelsea nil, Newcastle United 1, West Ham United 1, Manchester City 1, Crystal Palace nil, Leeds nil, Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1, Nottingham Forest nil, Fulham nil. And then Monday, the 14th of March, we had three games, and we had one game, sorry. That was Liverpool 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. And then Tuesday, 17th of March, we had Brentford 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. So, Tommy, is there any game or games that stand out to you?
There's two games that kind of stood out for me, and they're both 1-1 draws. Obviously, the Tottenham versus Liverpool, but I'm going to let you talk about that. I'm going to talk about another game, Manchester City versus West Ham. It was a very crucial game for Man City to win, to get closer to Arsenal, to kind of give them a challenge for the title. One of the last attacks for Manchester City was a Haaland volley, which was blocked by a guy, Mano
Mavropanos.
Mavropanos. And I seen the still image. I don't know how he still got a face, by the way. That was brutal, by the way. His brain looked as if it just combined with the ball. And that's now made Arsenal a wee bit further away, harder to catch. And it's getting near the end of the season. So Manchester City need to keep winning games. So that was a big upset for them. And they need to regroup and try and make sure they win every single game from now on if they want to try and stop Arsenal from winning the league. Because if Arsenal win the league, for me, they're one of the worst teams to win the league. Even like Leicester was a better team that won the league, and because the players were playing, Arsenal have not really got a team that kind of stands out to me, and how they're top of the league is baffling to me. But what about you, Pierce? What would you say is a game that kind of was the number one that stood out for you?
Well, you touched on it briefly. It's going to be the Liverpool 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Just the fact is that Igor Tudor's got his first point. Um, they're off a back at a terrible run. Would have lost six games on the bounce in all competitions, and they're currently sitting just above the relegation zone.
Mm,
And the fact is they've got a last minute equaliser um, against Liverpool at Anfield, which I don't think anyone would have seen coming, even though Liverpool are not in the greatest form themselves. I think one of the stand-up players for Liverpool consistently, even though they've been on a bad run, is Dominic Szoboszlai. I think he's been one of the stand-up players of the season, and I think they'll be lucky to keep hold of him next season because how good he's been like, in terms of he's been playing right back, right mid, centre mid. He's a bit like a Hungarian Valverde. Unbelievable footballer in my opinion, great technique. And yeah, so Richarlison scored an equaliser. And again, that point could be absolutely crucial in actually preventing Tottenham from Hotspur from going down into the Championship, which I don't think you could
yeah,
ever imagine, considering they're actually currently still in the Champions League at their time of recording. Maybe not for much longer, but they're still in the Champions League, so a chance the team would actually go down. It kind of reminisces me back to when Villarreal in La Liga back in the day when they had Riquelme, Forlan, Nilmar, Giuseppe Rossi and all that, Marco Senna were in the Champions League quarter-finals or semi-finals, and they get put by Arsenal. And in that same season, they get relegated from La Liga. For
yeah.
me, like Tottenham is a massive club. They've got massive like players that just aren't performing. So for me, that was a standard result.
Would you say that they're now regretting getting rid of Kane and Son,
I think actually,
not keeping hold of
I
them?
think they're regretting getting rid of Ange Postecoglou. I think even though he won
Mm,
him a trophy and he was terrible last season in the league, you could see that he would know how to rebuild that squad again. And they were
yeah,
set in a style of way. Was this season they completely changed style. Went to Thomas Frank, who's known for being at smaller clubs and pushing above the odds, whereas he went to a big club and you expected to go on the front foot, and he's
Mm,
known for being like defensively solid, set pieces,
mm,
and hard to beat. Well, that didn't materialise this season, and then
mm.
it's been a really bad season for Tottenham. And it could be one of the worst seasons in their history because I think they are going to be one of the biggest teams to go down. Obviously, not the Forest back in the day who won obviously two European Cups. You've Aston Villa's won the European Cup, they went down as well. Um, Leicester won the Premier League, went down. So there's so many big clubs that went down. Newcastle United as well, Sunderland. The list goes on, but I think Tottenham, I think being in the Champions League and that, and then going down, I think would be pretty, pretty mental.
Yeah.
So we'll now move on to the Scottish Premiership results. So on Sunday, the 15th of March, we had Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic FC 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, Kilmarnock 1, Heart of Midlothian 0, St Mirren 0, Rangers 1, Dundee FC 2, Dundee United 2. So Tommy, what result stands out for you there?
Obviously, I always go for like the kind of like the most interesting fixtures. It doesn't matter the scoreline, but something that just kind of stands out to me was the Kilmarnock versus Hearts 1-0 because they've had a lot of major injuries. Hearts are top of the league by like it was like 6 points or something before, or even more when they had Shankland and all their players like fully fit, and then that one of their major some of their first team players are out for a wee while, and you can tell it's taking effect in the team because they're dropping points left, right, and centre. They're winning games or they're drawing a game, and then they're losing a game, and then they're winning a game. So this is given the end of the season is going to be very interesting, I would say. And fair props to Kilmarnock getting a win at their home ground for their fans and that. When they'll get a nice wee win, get them up the table a wee bit. But Hearts, I think they're now shaking it now. They're choking it a little bit because I would like to see Hearts win the league. It's not because I'm a Hearts fan. It's just that it's a wee bit of difference in Celtic and Rangers winning the league, you know what I mean? But I don't think Dent McInnes can get them to that finish line. Don't think he can. I think he'll finish third. I think they all finish third, Hearts. Because recently I've just seen the way they've been playing and they've just not showed much, you know what I mean? What do you think, Pearse?
I agree. I think oh, I seen the highlights of the Hearts Kilmarnock game. The goal by Kilmarnock was unbelievable.
Of course.
Greg Kelty's cross at the back post, and then the striker just taps into the back post. But it's all about the delivery of the cross, just beating that full defence. And yes, Kilmarnock had to defend, but when they went forward on the counter attack, they caused Hearts problems. And Hearts have been really solid, but in recent weeks, like you mentioned, the key injuries have got Benny Beningame, Cammy Devlin, Stuart Finlay, Lawrence Shankland. That's a spine of a team, and they've had to test their squad. And let's not beat around the bush. Celtic have currently 10 first-team players out. Rangers have had injury issues as well. So every team gets injury issues. It's how you deal with those injury issues. And right now, Hearts are struggling. And yes, they're still top league, only by a couple of points. They're now on 63 points. Celtic's on 61 and Rangers on 60. So this is the closest it's been all season. Because Hearts at one point were 9, 10 points clear. And like you say, I think the writing was on the wall for McInnes. I think a few weeks ago, I think he played Aberdeen and he slapped one of the Aberdeen players in the face. And that for me showed that his bottles cracking. Because like if you're a manager, you need to show calmness and make sure your team is like even though if your team is feeling pressure, you may basically that be like that perfect man to show no we're all right. But the
Hmm.
fact is he's getting involved in needless things like that. And the comments at the weekend as well, where he mentioned about Braga getting tapped in the foot. He said we should be diving to get a penalty. That for me is not how you win a league title. And that for me is showing a man that's kind of cracking under the pressure because Celtic and Rangers are consistently picking up results, and they're getting closer and closer. And like you say, there's only 8 games left. Celtic, Rangers, and Hearts are still going to play each other before when the split happens. So for me, and Hearts have got to play Motherwell twice. So for me, points are going to be dropped all over the shop. But
Mm.
I, for one, don't believe Hearts will win the league. Even though they've been there since August, I still think it'll be Celtic or Rangers that wins the league. I think Hearts, like you say, McInnes has done it before with Aberdeen, where he's close and close, but he doesn't really quite go over the line. Um, but I think Hearts have been a revelation this season. But as you can see, the squad isn't as good as people think it is. The first team is really good, but the squad isn't that great. And then I think obviously the big game of the weekend was obviously the Dundee derby, and then you had the Celtic Motherwell. Um, Celtic Motherwell, I think that was probably the game of the weekend in terms of the football because I thought Motherwell at times played Celtic off the park in terms of possession, and then Celtic actually sat and countered, which is mental. And some good goals as well. The first goal was a mistake by Rio Tati. Elijah Just, who was good player all afternoon, scored. Um, Yang was probably the man much for Celtic in terms of his pressing back going forward, scored 2 brilliant goals. And then there was a red card for a foul on Maeda, which for me, it,
100%.
it was 100% a red card, 100% a penalty because the goalkeeper's been caught under the ball, and he's Longello, the left wing back, isn't even looking at the ball. He just wrestles Maeda, and
Mm.
I think Maeda probably would have missed it anyway. But you never know because Maeda's had a terrible
Mm.
season to be honest. But that changed the game, but it changed the game in the right way because it was a penalty, and then Celtic take the lead for that through Thomas Fanchara. But yeah, so two significant results in terms of Hearts dropping points, Rangers picking up points, Celtic picking up points, closing the gap at the table, Kilmarnock closing the gap with St Mirren as well, right at the bottom of the table as well. So it's going to be really exciting into the season. 8 games left.
Mm.
Um, I'm really looking forward to see who will get relegated, who will make the relegation playoff, who will make the Champions League places, who will get into Europe, who will make the top six, and who will win the league. For me,
What I'm excited for as well is like who is going to be the manager of Celtic and other teams, and I want to see what their transfer business will be like after this season. I want to see what changes the teams will make.
we'll talk about changing to the managers, Tommy. There's been some breaking news since last week. Right after the podcast, we recorded it on Monday early. I think it was Wednesday. We got some breaking news that Aberdeen have actually got a new manager, and that is former St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson. Um, what's your thoughts on that, Tommy?
Well, I think he's a decent manager for St Mirren, right? But he's not done too well. But last season he did all right. And the Aberdeen manager, he couldn't get any worse. I'm going to be honest. The guy, he showed promising things at the beginning of his tenure at Aberdeen, but recently, man, it's just loss after loss after loss, and it's like you're at Aberdeen. Remember, this is a team that used to challenge Celtic and Rangers. Now you're going there and you're like, easy 3 points. That's what teams are thinking because they know that they're not that strong at the back anymore. They're not that good at set pieces anymore. All they're good at is maybe giving you a good challenge in the middle of the park. And it's sad to see because Aberdeen used to be one of the big outfits in the SPL. Now you're seeing the downfall of them because of the tactical kind of like mismatches and that, and the tactical errors that this manager's creating. And I think of course he's lost the dressing room, that guy, and they had to replace him with with the what's his name, Stephen
Stephen Robinson.
Stephen Robinson. I think
I
he would do a job. He would do a job definitely. He will do a
Well, I
job.
th I think there's a bit of a snobbery in Scottish football where they don't want to
Mhm.
buy players or appoint managers from within the
Yeah.
league. And I think, like you say, Hearts were never challenging for league titles, and then they get a
Mm.
Scottish Premiership proven manager, Derek McInnes, and they're suddenly
Mm.
challenging. There's no coincidence there, right? Aberdeen, Jimmy Tulin was brilliant last year, right? Started brilliant. The second half season was terrible, right? But they won the Scottish Cup, so that gave them a bit
Mm.
of time. Start the season again terribly, and then he gets
Mm.
sacked, and then they've put the guy Peter leaving in temporary charge,
He was terrible as well.
he was woeful. I think they were going to wait until the summer to get someone, and then they've hit the panic button because they were looking at managers from Scandinavia. That's the route they were wanting to go down.
Yeah.
And now they've appointed Stephen Robson, who again has punched above the odds year after year at St Mirren. He's been proven at Motherwell in the past as well, and he currently won the League Cup this season against Celtic in the final. St Mirren, even though St Mirren are not having a good season, actually having a terrible season, but his past records of getting 3 consecutive top 6 finishes with St Mirren with a minuscule budget doesn't really go unnoticed. And I think with Aberdeen, he's already played one match at the weekend. You get a 1-1 draw with Falkirk, high flying Falkirk at that, and you can see this. He's getting the 3-5-2 instantly back at Aberdeen, and we all know the way he plays. Right, it's not exciting football to watch, but it's winning football in terms of solid, hard to break down, good on the counter attack, and good from set pieces. And I think Aberdeen just get back to the basics, and then they can build on that. And then I think they'll need a clear out in the summer and get the players that he wants to then build.
Yeah.
Because I think Aberdeen have to get in Europe next season, because a club like Aberdeen can't be sitting in the bottom 6.
No, they can't.
So now we'll move on to the Champions League. Yeah, exciting times. We're in the Champions League last 16. So we've actually got the second leg matches coming up Wednesday and Thursday morning for us. Tuesday, Wednesday UK time. So Wednesday, 18th of March, we've got Sporting CP, Sporting Lisbon, versus Bodo Glimt, which is a 2:45 AM kickoff. In the first leg was 3-0 to Bodo Glimt. Arsenal versus Bayer Leverkusen, it's a 5 AM kickoff. And that finished 1-1 after the first leg. Chelsea versus PSG, also a 5 AM kickoff, and that finished PSG 5-2 in the first leg in Paris. Man City host Real Madrid, who Real Madrid obviously won their first leg 3-0 with a Federico Valverde hat-trick, and that's also a 5 AM kickoff. And then Thursday, 19th of March, we've got Barcelona versus Newcastle United at the Nou Camp. That finished 1-1 in the first leg. That's a 2:45 AM kickoff. That's the early kickoff. We've got Bayern Munich versus Atalanta at 5 AM. The first leg finished 6-1 to Bayern away from home. Liverpool host Galatasaray. That's a 5 AM kickoff also, with Galatasaray winning the first leg 1-0 in Turkey. And in the last game, we've got Tottenham Hotspur 2 versus Atletico Madrid 5. That was the first leg, now back in London, but that's also a 5 AM kickoff. Yeah, so Tommy, get some big results there, some teams that you can see that are clearly already through. What kind of game stood out to you last week, and how do you see the second leg going?
Well, the game that stood out, it's because it was in the newspapers that I posted over social media as well, as I watched highlights as well. It was the Tottenham versus the Atletico Madrid game. I feel so bad for that goalkeeper, because
Tinsky.
Those errors, especially doing it in the Champions League on that stage of football, you're like, oh my God, he must feel horrible inside, man. He's hyped up so much before the match that he's going to challenge for the first team. He's going to get a spot in the first team, and he's messed it up for himself. And
do you think the manager would take some blame? Because the fact is,
of course, it's not just the goalkeeper's fault.
Is a young goalkeeper. He's not played any football since October.
Yeah, flying him in the deep end, just like,
yeah.
And that could probably stunt his career, his confidence and stuff. And I feel sorry for the lad, but at the end of the day, he's made those mistakes. He wasn't ready. The manager's partly to blame for that. And Julian Alvarez couldn't get an easier goal, for one of the goals. And then after that, they just ran away with the game, 5-2. Yeah, I do predict that Atletico in the next leg doesn't matter if they draw or win, they're going to go through. 100%. No, Tottenham's not going to do anything to stop them going through, because Atletico's got a solid team, and very defensive, good at set pieces, and they've got like good striker and good playmakers as well. So my prediction: 3-0 the next leg for Atletico, and they'll go through. What game stood out to you?
Well, first I want to touch on the game you mentioned.
Hmm.
Let's see, I actually think Atletico Madrid are one of the underdogs of the tournament. I think Simeone defensively solid, always all right. We know that me and you have watched La Liga for years, like
Yeah.
massive La Liga fans, right? I actually think the attacking talent that Atletico Madrid have got. You think they've got Adaloma, Lookman, Alexander Sorloth, Julian Alvarez, Antoine Griezmann still. Somebody see the flick for one of the goals, by the way, that Griezmann did. Filthy.
Insane.
Even at 34,
Mm-hmm.
he's still got the quality. And then you're forgetting they've got the players in the wings as well. You've got Thiago Almada, they got from the MLS. You've got
Mm-hmm.
Giuliano Simeone, Alex Baena, who they got from Villarreal. So they've got so much attacking talent as well as defensively. So for me, they're so good, Atletico Madrid. And I think this is probably the best side he's had in terms of options as a squad, not really as a team, because obviously you can't really go against the team that won the Liga and the Copa del Rey and stuff like that and go to two Champions League finals. But Atletico Madrid, I think they'll romp it. And I think Tottenham were lucky to not escape from another spanking, even though I think Simeone might even shut up in the second leg. Typical Simeone. But I think the standout result for me definitely has to be Man City losing 3-0 at the Bernabeu. Just because Federico Valverde, for me, the
Hat-trick.
best for me, best all round player on the planet. He can do
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like he can like this season he's been playing right back. He's natural centre mid. He's been playing right. He played right wing, and even I remember when Zidane and Ancelotti played him right wing, like a right winger, but a false right winger, where he then kind of cut back to cover it defensively because you knew on one side, like Vinny Junior when he tracked back, so you had to try and balance it out that way, and he was unbelievable. But this season, and every goal he seems to score is unbelievable. Um, they can't even the last goal, he just flicks it over Mark Gahey and volleys it, and you're just like, this guy's unbelievable. Left foot volley as well. He then sprints in behind, rounds
Bang.
Donnarumma. It's no an easy finish. I don't know what Donnarumma's doing. He pulls his hand away, you know he's inside the box, probably thinks
Aye.
he's outside,
Um,
but regardless, he's mega quick. He chases down every ball. He's just an absolute machine. And I think he'd be any manager's dream. And even Ancelotti said at the weekend, um, I just wish he was Brazilian, so I could pick for Brazil. It just shows you like he's unbelievable football, and I think Man City in a really poor run at the moment. And I think even Man City's been quite not a great venue for Real Madrid in the past, where they've actually been done a few times. But I really don't see Man City overturning that. I think Real Madrid will. I think there'll be goals. I think there'll be goals from both sides, but I think
Okay.
that Real Madrid will just edge it, and I think they'll go through comfortably with a couple, maybe two or three goals.
I do think he gets overlooked a lot in midfield because Jude Bellingham and you've got like obviously uh, Arda Güler. He's also quite a good player. Doesn't get played often,
Aurelien
but
Tchouameni,
he is a cat.
Eduardo Camavinga.
Tchouameni, Camavinga, and that. I do think he's a catalyst for the team. Like he's one of the players you want in this midfield. The first player in the midfield I would choose would be him because you know he's going to give you 110% every match
It's not just
because
that.
he's
It's not just
Uruguayan.
his.
He's no scared of a tackle.
It's not just
He's
what he's.
no he's and remember that game last man Morata
I,
and
I,
even
I remember.
props to Simeone did that fair play son.
No, I remember the game very well. You talked about the Copa del Rey final. Well, I think it was the Super Cup final against us. It was back in 2020.
Mm,
Um, and he literally does an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Last man, one of them to keep
100%.
them. Takes him out, red card, straight red card, and then Real Madrid then take it to penalties and win in penalties. That's the sort of shit that needs to be done. It's shithousery. That's what it is. But that's what I'm saying. He's got that dirty side to his game, but also extreme quality.
Mm,
And for me, best midfielder on the planet.
mm.
And there's
Would you not
many
say that
different types of
all
midfielders like
round,
Pedri. I think Pedri's
all
the most
round?
technical, but I think
Mm.
he's got every facet to his game. Whereas I think
Aye,
there's better players than him technically on the ball, and there's better
but
players maybe like passing. But in terms of the whole package, pace, power, defending, attacking, wonder goals, like he's so good.
and before we move on, we also need to touch on the underdogs of the whole tournament that have been beating the giants, Lord Glimt. They have been playing outstanding football. If you actually watch their wins in their games, the passing moves, the counter attacking play by the way, they've been some team. And if I don't see it myself, I'd like to see them take it all the way to the final at least, man, because
Yeah,
that would be a, a beautiful way to end the Champions League. Because a team like Bode Glimt being in the final, you'd be like, wow. And I think that if they continue with this run of form, the player, I don't know if they'll be able to hold on to some of the players that have been playing well. Like the players that even Celtic are looking at a couple of players out of Celtic's price range, of course.
yeah.
With
You're
Celtic,
talking the striker Hogg.
aye, in the midfielder.
He was actually linked with Norwich for 15 million quid in the Championship. He also turned it down, rightly so. 'Cause he scored 2 goals against Man City. He scored a couple of goals against Juventus. He
Mm-hmm.
had 5 Champions League goals this season, and he scored again in this tie. And like you say, this is like basically a fishing village in Norway near the Northern Lights. It's a really tough venue to go to, and every team is went there is either lost or drawn. Like no team gets a win at this venue, and even on the road, they've actually been amazing as well. So, like you say, they're the minnows of the competition. No one expects them to get this far, and I genuinely don't see who would actually stop them. I think they would give any team a good go. And they're not blessed with superstars. That's all down to the good coaching, and the togetherness, and also the players have played with each other for years. And then they've also got good recruitment as well. But for me, I think Bowling Glimt will definitely go through that second leg. And I think any club that gets them in the quarter-finals will actually feel them, to be honest.
Yeah, well said.
Yep. So for the final part of the show, we'll talk about Asian football news. So we'll start off with the G League. So we had matches on Saturday, the 14th of March, and there was Yokohama F Mariners 2, Jeff United Chiba 0, Kashiroso 0, SUG Zelvia 1, Gota Sanga FC 1, Seizo Osaka 2, Mito Hollyhock 1, FC Tokyo 1, with FC Tokyo winning 6-5 in penalties. Nago Grampus 0, Vissel Kobe 3, Shimizu S Pulse 1, Fagiano Okayama FC 1, with Shimizu S Pulse winning 4-2 on penalties. Cash Antlers 1, Kawasaki Frontale 0, Sunfresh Hiroshima 2, Gambo Saka 0, Tokyo Verde 1, Ura Diamonds 0, and then Sunday the 15th of March, V Varen Nagasaki 1, Aviva Fukuoka 0. So it's leaving the table looking like this in the Eastern Conference. So the
Mm.
top of the table get Cash Antlers, 16 points from 6 matches, top of the table. Second with Machida Zelvia on 12 points, but played a game less, 5 games. And then top three is FC Tokyo. They're also got 12 points with a +2 goal difference, not a +3 that Machida Zelvia's got, but they played a game more. And then just beside the top three, we've got Tokyo Verde on 11 points. And then at the bottom of the table, we've got Kashiroso, 3 points in 10th position. Jeff United Chiba, 5 points. And Mita Hollyhock, 8th with 5 points also. And both of the teams have got a -4 goal difference, so really tight at the bottom of the table. But the
Can
Western Conference is the most exciting league that I've actually seen ever.
But
You,
before we go into that, can I speak about the one of the teams that won the fixtures?
on you go.
Machida Zelvia versus Kawashia Reso. Reso?
Yeah,
Kawashia
Racel, yeah.
Reso. And the reason I'm touching on this is because they got a win away from home against Kawashiwa. And I know Kawashiwa was quite a decent team. They usually quite consistent at mid-table range. And ex-Livingston striker scored.
Who's that?
Yenge. Yenge.
Oh, Yenge,
Mm,
big 6'5" guy,
right.
Australian striker.
4 games this season, 2 goals, 2 assists. It's a good record. That's a goal contribution every game. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that team and see how they do throughout the season. But a good result for them. away from home.
Well, it's the second season in the top flight. Last season was the first team promoted, but they have been heavily
In the
invested.
second,
Heavily invested into, so they've actually a decent budget. But like you say, I'm going to touch on to the West, and I think
mm,
if you look at the table, Tommy, it's unbelievable. So top of the table, Vissel Kobe, 11 points, 5 games played, plus 5 goal difference. Second, Sanfrecce Hiroshima, 5 games played, plus 4 goal difference, 11 points. Gambo Saka, 6 games played, 0 goal difference, 11 points. So top three have all got 11 points. But then, this is
mm.
where it gets interesting. From fourth all the way down to ninth, they're separated by 1 point. There's 10 teams in the league.
It's an interesting league.
So there's 10 teams in the league and 9 teams are separated by only 3 points. Those are mental. So teams are
Mm,
just taking points off each other. So Kyoto Sanga are fourth, six games played, plus 1 goal difference, 9 points. Sejo Osaka fifth, 6 games played, plus 1 goal difference, 9 points. Nogo Grampus sixth place, 6 games played, 0 goal difference, 9 points. V Varen Nagasaki seventh, minus 1 goal difference, 9 points also. And then eighth, so the bottom three sides, Fajan Okayama FC, 8 points. We have 0 goal difference. And also with the same goal difference and the same points and the same number of games played is Shimizu S Pulse in ninth with 8 points also. And then the one that just is the whipping boys at the table so far is Avispa Fukuoka with 2 points with a minus 10 goal difference. Tommy, so what do you think about that league table? Have you seen a league
I
table
think
like that in the
that's
league?
one of the most interesting league tables I've seen for a wee while, and I'll be definitely tuning in for that game in the hand Vissel Kobe versus Sanfrecce because they're the only teams that got one game behind. Because whoever wins that game can solidify being number one by 2 points, or if it's a draw, it's even. But I feel as if they're both going to go for it, and it's at Vissel Kobe's home ground. So I don't know if that's going to give them an extra advantage on Sanfrecce. So I would say, yep, that I'm going to keep an eye on that league. That looks very interesting. I want to see how it finishes. If it finishes with the same type of point tally, how close it is, or do the top two teams pull away, and who is going to be top? It could be the middle teams because they're so close. It could be anyone, apart from obviously from that Ashiba Fukuoka that's got 2 points and minus 10 goal difference. They're the whipping boys, as you say.
Mm,
So I don't feel as if they're def. Can you get relegated from that? Like, yeah.
you can, yeah. It's a new format this year. Where, like you say, if a team's basically if a team's drawn, it goes automatically to penalties. And even if you lose the game in penalties, you still get 1 point. But if you win the game in penalties, you get 2 points.
Interesting.
But if you lose the game outright, 0 points. If you win the game outright, 3 points. But it's more. I think they're trying it because I think it's more exciting, and they've split into two tables in terms of where they're located on the map in Japan. Because, like you say, Japan's a big country in terms of a lot of traveling, so it saves all that traveling. And I think also that I don't know how it works in terms of when it comes to the end of the season, but I'm assuming the two winners will then play each other in like a grand final or like a playoff system. But
Mm.
it's exciting to see. But also we've got a full card on Wednesday, so tomorrow night in Japan. So Seizo Osaka versus Fagiano Okayama, 6:30 kickoff. Avita Fukuoka versus Shimizu S Pulse, 7 p.m. kickoff. And all the rest of the matches are 7 p.m. Jeffrey Chiba versus FC Tokyo. Mito Hollyhock versus Yokohama Mariners. Nogo Grampus versus Francesco Hiroshima. Tokyo Verde versus Kawasaki Frontale. V Varen Nagasaki versus Kyoto Sanga FC. Vissel Kobe versus Gambo Osaka, and then 2 games, both at half 7 tomorrow night, and that is Machida Zelvia versus Kashmir Antlers and Ura Diamonds versus Kashiwa Reysol. So that's all your J League action. So now we're going to move on to South Korean K League One. Yeah, so we'll touch on the K League One action. So on Saturday, the 14th of March, with Gwangju FC 0, John Hyundai Motors FC 0. Sunday, 15th of March, with Butchon FC 1995 1, Ulsan HDFC 2, Jeju SK 1, FC Seoul 2, Gangwon FC 1, FC Anyang 1, Pohang Steelers 1, Incheon United 1. So it's leading the table. Like I said, top of the table, we've got Ulsan top, 6 points after 2 matches. SSO also joint top on 6 points, but with a goal less. Anyang makes up the top three with 5 points, and Gwangju's also joint third and fourth place with a +1 goal difference and also 5 points also. And at the bottom of the table, we've got Jeju SK, Gangwon FC, and Inch United all on 1 point and all on a -2 goal difference. So as you can see, really exciting at the top and bottom half of the K League One.
Would
Yeah,
you
and
say
there's
that?
yeah, on you
Sorry
go.
for interrupting you,
No, on you
but
go.
would you say that your team, obviously your hometown team, got a chance to win in the league this year? Do you think?
One in the league, Guangzhou
Because you
FC.
started with
No,
what you've seen so
nah,
far.
no chance, no chance.
That's no shoot too much.
Guangzhou FC's goal is just to get top six. They've literally got the smallest budget. They lose their best players every year, and
Mm.
they lost arguably the best manager in the whole league, and they've got an inexperienced manager. So I think they've started the season well, undefeated obviously, but I don't really see them having a great season. To be honest, I think Guangzhou will lucky to get top six.
Okay.
And yeah, so we've got some matches actually get played earlier tonight. And that was Gimchung Sangmu versus Guangzhou. And that was a 7:30 kickoff today. At the time of recording. Wednesday, so tomorrow, 18th March, all 7:30 kickoffs. We've got Butcher FC versus Gangwon FC, Inch United versus Daejeon Hana Citizen, Jeju SK versus Ulsan HDFC, John Butcher Motors versus FC Anyang, and Porn Steelers versus FC Seoul. So that is all your latest Asian football news. So check out the podcast on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcast, Samsung Podcast, Spotify. It's all there, and on the Football Chuggu website, and as well, it will also be uploaded a bit later on the YouTube channel. And that's been us in the Football Chuggu. It's a goodbye from me.
And say goodbye from Vietnam. Good night and good morning, and see you again.
Bye bye.